everybody, what is up y'all? Spencer K here, and I am here for my first ever game review. If you did not watch my last video where I talked about why I wanted to do game reviews, how I'm going to do game reviews and all that good stuff, I highly recommend it. Whether you've already watched that video or you just don't really care, doesn't matter, we're going to go ahead and hop right into the review. The game category this game is listed in is a simulator, a life sim, a card battler, a collectathon, which if you put all those together, it's just really a tycoon. This game was developed by Shane Games and it is their first ever release. I picked it up about a week after launch and got it on sale for $9.48 including tax, but it is listed as $11.99 when it's not on sale. I'm playing this game on the PC platform, more specifically through Steam. I've spent a little over 22 hours and I was able to get 98 out of 100 achievements that this game has to offer. Getting to the basics of the game, once again, it's really just a tycoon. It's the first game by the developer. It was either inspired, ripped off, or parodied from the TCG card shop game. Now, I'm saying inspired, ripped off, or parodied because I don't want to just stick with one. You could probably guess which one it was. I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm not going to say it. I'm not trying to get in trouble, especially in my first review. And it is very similar to TCG, but the main difference between this game and that game is that this one has multiplayer. And truthfully, that may be the only reason that this game exists. If TCG Card Shop Simulator had multiplayer, there's a good chance this game just never would have come out. Now, full disclaimer, I have not played the TCG Card Shop Simulator, but I've seen enough videos out there and it has been on my wish list. I have friends, I talk to people. I do plan on reviewing that game, so I'm not going to sit here on top of my throne and be willing to die over my opinions, but I am willing to bet that the TCG Card Shop Simulator game has a lot more depth, I guess is a good word. I was trying to think of a word there. Unfortunately, I'm kind of doing the games backwards. If I would have been smarter, I would have done the TCG Card Shop's game first and then do this game and then compare the two. However, like I said, I'm doing a little backwards. The objective of the game is you own a card shop in which your goal is to unlock and sell 6 different generations of cards and packs. You are highly encouraged to open packs and even make custom decks to go to battle. There are currently 1,527 different cards that you can collect. However, a lot of them are just different versions of the same card. Getting into the most controversial part of this game used AI to design the cards and potentially some of the other items in the game. Now, this has absolutely split the community apart. If you go into the reviews, you're going to see people who don't mind it at all. You're going to see people who absolutely hate it. Now, obviously, some of the cons about using AI in your game, especially for art, is you take away work from artists. A lot of people see it as a cheap and lazy way to add art into a game. And then there's some people who see, hey, this is an indie game. They're not trying to make art that they're going to put on t-shirts and make custom cards and sell in real life for. They just need kind of a cheap way to get a bunch of art to make a card collection game and a card shop game. I'm not going to take a stance here. I'm not trying to get into that whole conversation. That conversation will absolutely tear my little channel apart, so I'm going to stay away. But it is something to note. If you are looking into this game, if you're against AI art, I'd probably stay clear. If you don't really mind, then I guess give it a shot. Now, getting into the character design, this is kind of a gooner game. All the women in the game are pretty much anime chicks in skimpier clothing. Some of the posters and even some of the trainer cards are also more revealing women. It's not a diss, it's nothing bad. It's just if you are looking to play this game because you want to collect cards and open a card sales shop, there's probably going to be little titties and ass as well. Most of the features of this game are very on par for the tycoon category. The graphics, game mechanics, sound effects, soundtrack, the map, all that stuff is very standard for tycoons and simulators. Some of them are slightly above average, some of them are slightly below. I don't really want to dive too in depth with this. One really cool thing about the goals of the game or the achievements in the game is that when you unlock a Steam achievement, you do get in-game currency that you can use to upgrade your store. I really did like the loot feature at first. Cards are hidden throughout the map that change randomly every day. You can find them in trash cans, roofs, street lamps, pretty much anywhere that you can get access to. It was really cool because it encouraged parkouring on rooftops and jumping around and just overall exploring the map. I know sometimes when it's a shop simulator, you don't always have a reason to leave your shop and go out and check out the rest of the map, but this did a good job at doing that. I will say it did get a little old after a while. Once you hit about Gen 4, a couple hours into the game, you're just tired of running around town, and you just stay in your store to try to speed run to Gen 6. Difficulty is one complaint I had with the game. There's really none at all. There's no adversity when it comes to managing your store. You don't have to worry about slow days, random events, or even thieves stealing your product. Now, I didn't really contribute this to my final score. It was just something that didn't give the game a whole lot of replayability. It's almost like an AFK simulator at times. There's a card battle game that you can play, which is the only intended feature with some sort of difficulty. While in the beginning you may struggle, the game is really not that challenging in the end. Once you get a powerful deck, it's basically a sit and wait simulator. Once you hit ready, the card game is fully automatic and makes all the moves for both you and your opponent. But like I said, once you have a late game deck, all the wins are pretty much guaranteed and you just click play and then wait until the game's over. I did look online and a lot of people felt as if the card battle game was also designed or written by AI, and I could absolutely believe it. Now, I'm not going to confirm that or hold that against the game because I actually do not know the answer to that. Once again, this game wasn't designed to be a card battler. I know it says it in the categories, but it really was just a simulator where you can open up a card shop, sell cards. Now, apparently a huge issue for a lot of other people in the game was the completeness of the game. While a lot of people had issues, I didn't experience much. I didn't have a single game crash, which was supposedly one of the main culprits for everyone else. I did have a few minor issues with glitched out card packs and cards in my hands on shelves and even in boxes, but a quick game reset fixed all those issues. By far the funniest problem I ran into was the fact that you can just straight up jump out of the map and get stuck. Thankfully, they did add a teleport to shop option to the pause menu that resolved this issue. Now, sidestepping to another issue very similar was the servers and lag. I did not experience that, or it's really unknown. I did play online with a couple of buddies, but my Wi-Fi in my house is like not set up correctly, so there's a good chance that the lag I experienced is on my end. I'm not going to put that on the server, so I truly don't know if the servers are good or not. My friends weren't complaining a whole lot, so it may just once again be user specific. Now, I already kind of said this in the beginning, but the whole reason this game exists, in my opinion, is because the TCG card shop game does not have multiplayer. And that's pretty much exactly how the online feels. There's almost no interaction between players other than the occasional visit to each other's stores to check out the new designs and to see if your friends have any good cards for sale. There are no events that players can work together or compete for. As far as I can tell, the prices of your store don't impact your friends at all. There's no public market. Market prices don't change. An example of this would be you can't slash your prices in your store to promote you getting more business over your friends who may have higher pricing. Could you imagine if you could manipulate the market and just steal all the customers from your friends and his store just stagnates and goes out of business? I think that would be pretty funny. And once again, I haven't played the TCG Card Shop Simulator game, but as far as I can tell, there's really nothing that distinguishes this game from that one or puts this game a level above that one. It's basically 4-person single player, but in a public lobby. When it comes to the overall enjoyment of the game, I was absolutely addicted to this game for a whole weekend. I put over 20 hours in the game in less than 2 days. Now, I was goofing off and not playing as efficiently as most other players probably would. A more realistic time to beat time is around 10 hours. It only took me 20 hours because once again, I was absolutely goofing off. But unfortunately, once I unlocked Generation 6, the game just got stale. This is really on par for Tycoon games. Once you unlock everything, the game just gets stale and stagnates. Now, I did have an absolute ball when I discovered I could just litter as much as I wanted to with absolutely zero repercussions. And this only got better when I found out you can hire anime chicks to clean up after myself, making me feel like an absolutely terrible boss. I guess another recommendation for the game is if you have a lot of trash in or around your store, maybe that will scare away customers from coming inside. That's just an idea that may make things a little bit more interesting. But without that, there's really no reason to throw your boxes away other than visibility. Once I lost sight of my front doors, I had to throw the boxes away. And I already kind of mentioned this too, but there's really not a whole lot of replayability. Once again, it's on par for Tycoon games. Once you unlock everything, that's pretty much it. There is one remaining factor that may pull you back into this game, and that's just the pure thrill of ripping open packs. I personally don't see myself replaying this game in the future unless they add more stuff to do with your friends. But with all that said, how does it compare to similar games? Similar tycoons, similar shop simulators, all that stuff? I think it's truly on average. Well, the game does have some lack of creativity and some minor issues. It is a brand new release by a brand new developer, and I don't expect the game to be perfect or excel in anything. They have been fairly active in updating the game. I noticed in the first 2 days I owned this game, it had 2 updates, so they are doing a good job at updating stuff. In the end, I gave this game a 6.4, and if that score makes you mad because it's too high or too low, I highly once again recommend watching my previous video explaining how I do game reviews. Basically, to summarize it, there is a sheet that I'm going to use in every single review. All the different game categories are going to be ranked among themselves. An indie game is going to be judged vastly different than a AAA studio. I'm trying to do a stricter scale like the Dave Portnoy pizza review, in which a 7 on the Dave Portnoy scale is immaculate. Now, I'm not exactly like his. I'm not trying to say that. I do mine very, very differently. But I want a 7 in my scale to mean something. A 6.4 is not a bad game. It's just, I don't want to be known for the guy giving out 7s, 8s, and 9s to every game that's ever come out. If you look at all the big reviewers out there, they give out 8s to everything. And 8 really doesn't mean anything by a lot of those reviewers. You'll have absolutely dog shit games that get an 8. And then you'll have Game of the Year nominees that also just get an 8. Doesn't really make sense. I want my score to mean something. A 6.4 is vastly different than a 6.7 is what I'm trying to say. And I do want my games to get to the lower end too. I feel like people are afraid to give out 3s and 4s when the games deserve it. They'll just give out 6s or 7s. My 3s are probably going to be equivalent to most people's 6s, is what I'm trying to say. But in conclusion, I know I've already said it, but this game really does feel like it only exists because TCG Card Shop Simulator doesn't have multiplayer. Despite that, this is a pretty decent game for $5 to $12, depending if it's on sale or not. If you like tycoons or like ripping open packs of cards, this is probably a good game for you to try. Once again, it is important to note the whole AI controversy and the fact that it is kind of a gooner game. I don't know if I'd let young kids play this just because, once again, some of the characters are in some skimpier clothing. But in the end, I had a whole lot of fun. I look forward to hopefully seeing this game get some updates and some more features. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed. And that is it for the first game review. Peace.